Welcome to Urban Ave Crypto. I'm Thomas Bain. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It is a very, very, very hot day. I'm in the car right now. I was outside running some errands, so I wanted to bring you guys a video. You may hear like the noise of my AC coming through the video, but please just ignore it, right? I'm here to talk about a couple of things. So I'm here to talk about this video that I seen online. It was on Instagram, actually. It was sent to me. One of my friends sent it to me. And in the video clip, this woman is talking about the ISO coins, right? And as you can see from the title of the video, it's why are all ISO20022 compliant coins going nowhere, right? That's the title of the video. So in the clip, she's basically breaking it down. So we're gonna go through that and hear what she's talking about, right? Please listen to the whole video, and I appreciate everyone that does listen to all the videos. I appreciate the people that only listen to a couple of minutes of my videos. I appreciate everyone. But if you don't listen to my videos through its entirety, you are probably gonna miss a lot of information. And if you're someone that's serious about being in this, I think it will do you justice to listen to my whole video. But besides that, we're going to go through her video and I'm going to stop it and I'm going to make some comments. I'm also going to talk about this other guy. I've seen his video. I can't remember his name right now. He was talking about reading an article where someone, I guess they spoke to David Schwartz or something of the sort. And the things that was being said in the article, I'm like, what are you talking about? All right, so we're gonna get into all of that. So right now, I'm going to talk about the article that this YouTuber went over. And I'm going to give you just like a brief overview of what I could remember right now at the moment, because these parts are very key parts for me, right? So the article he's seen, and he was reading it on his YouTube channel, he's talking about David Schwartz said that companies do not need to hold XRP in order to use the XRP ledger, the XRPL. These type of things get me upset because as a YouTuber, if you truly understand the technology, you will never do an article, you will never do a video going over an article like this and actually trying to make it make sense. When if you understand the technology, you know that it doesn't make sense, right? So he's telling people that, and I cannot quote it word for word. Again, I'm just giving you a brief thought of what I remember. So he's telling people that you can use the XRPL without having XRP. He's saying that David Schwartz is, making a lot of sense when he says this. And he gives an analogy of using a ferry to go from one island to another island, right? So I don't know if any of you listening has ever done that. However, I know in a couple of Caribbean islands, and not even just Caribbean islands, but even in America, you can take ferries to go from one place to another. Sorry guys, I was interrupted, but it's okay. I had a call come in. So as I was saying, you can take a ferry to go to one place to another. Now, in taking this ferry, you are being transported from one island to another island, right? However, when you pay to get on the ferry, you're not paying for a seat, which is one thing this guy mentioned. He said, you can use the ferry and you can bring your car on board and you don't have to use their seat. Well, you're not paying for the seat. You're paying for the service of being transported from one island to the other island. You're still using the ferry, right? Because sometimes they don't have a bridge in certain places to get to one island, right? So they would just use a boat as a means to transport people from one island to the other. Regardless to what, you have to use the ferry. So when he was bringing this and trying to make it an explanation as to, why you cannot use why you don't have to use XRP if you're using the XRPL to move money, I had to let him know, sir, you're very much incorrect. Because no matter how you twist and turn it, you are using the ferry to move from one place to another. You don't have to use the AC, no, but you're using the boat, which is the most important thing that you need to move from one island to another. You don't need to sit down, because when you get on these ferries, and I don't know if anyone has been on a ferry, when you get on this boat, you don't have to sit down. Some people stand outside on the deck part of the ferry and watch the sky, watch the water, talk. They may even smoke, right? You don't have to sit. So when he tried to use that as an analogy, I had to let him know, no, you're very much incorrect. Because you're still using the ferry as a service, and you're paying the ferry to use their service. And in you paying the ferry to use their service, the ferry, their profits are growing, right? So, again, here is someone that is reading an article and don't even understand what they're talking about in the article, and you're agreeing with what they're saying and trying to make an analogy that really didn't make any sense, okay? Which further let me know that you don't understand the technology, because if you understood the technology, you wouldn't have agreed with that article. You would have called the article writer out for talking dumb shit and for being a person that didn't even understand what David Schwartz was actually really trying to explain, I don't know what he was trying to explain at the time, but I'm pretty sure that he was not explaining that. And if David Schwartz did say that, David Schwartz is again putting out lies for people to believe those lies. Because let's just use an example like this. If you want to use a Chase debit card, can you have a Chase debit card without having an account at Chase? No, you cannot, right? Because you want to use Chase as a means for you to be able to move your money and to make payments. Well, guess what? You're not going to be able to do that without having a Chase account. That is the same way how XRP, XLM, XDC, all of these things work the same way. You cannot use their blockchain without holding the coin. You cannot. And even if you don't use their coin to make your payments, you're still using it, because their coin is the gas fee that you use to make your payment. That's why it's called interoperability, right? I can use the XRP ledger to move my money, but no, I don't have to use XRP to move the money, but I have to hold XRP in order to use the XRP blockchain. That you have to have it. There's no way that you can do it without having XRP, XLM, or XDC. If you're using any one of those blockchains, you have to have the native token for that blockchain. There's no other way around it. And if this YouTuber knew that and understood that, truthfully, he would not have put that video out. That's the one thing that I have a problem with, is that we have so much YouTubers putting out information and it's incorrect information. Please stop putting out this type of information, because you're confusing people and people don't understand. And then when they hear someone like me talking, they think that I don't know what I'm talking about, when in actuality, you don't know what you're talking about because of the wrong information that's being put out. There's so much people that has YouTube channels that think that they know what they're talking about, and in reality they really don't, because a lot of these things are very much more simpler than they seem, but they make it so confusing because they don't understand it. And the one thing I was always told, the way to know that somebody understands something is if they can break it down to you in the simplest form. And that's what I do on my channel. I break stuff down to the simplest form. I can give you analogies for you to be able to understand. You know why? Because I truly understand the technology. The rest of these people do not. But that really pissed me off, right? But anyway, moving on from that, let's now get into the video with the young lady when she's talking about the ISO coins, right? So let me pull it up. Let me get it ready so that we can take a listen to it.
Why are ISO20022 compliant assets being quietly accumulated while the price goes nowhere? Because this isn't just a market, it's a setup. XRP, XLM, Quant, HBAR, XDC, IOTA, Algo, these aren't hype coins. They're the infrastructure. They're built for cross-border payments, CBDCs, tokenized assets, and machine-to-machine settlements. They're the rails of the next financial system. So ask yourself, why would the price of something that is so powerful stay so low for so long? Because they're suppressing it on purpose. Let's break it down.
All right, so I stopped it there because before she breaks it down, I just wanted to say that, you see the thing she's talking about? These ISO coins are made for machine-to-machine payments, which that's just the POS, the point of sale systems that you see in a lot of stores, right? They're made for tokenized assets. Tokenized assets, if you don't know, it's real estate, stocks, bonds, gold, silver, palladium, bronze. They're going to be tokenizing the whole stock market. They're going to tokenize they're also going to tokenize your car, okay? They're going to tokenize your license. They're going to tokenize your data. All of these things are going to be tokenized onto the blockchain. It's going to be moving money. These coins are going to be doing a lot. And she's saying to you that this is one of the reasons why they're suppressing it, which is what she's basically trying to say. Because these coins are not meme coins. These coins are the truth. That's why the prices of them are so low. And when you think about everything that these coins are going to be moving, do you really think that you need to keep on buying? I mean, me personally, I don't think you need to keep on buying. If you understand what you're holding, you would understand that you don't need more than 10,000 of any of these coins. You don't. You really don't. Because if today any one of these coins go to $1,000, right? And let's say you are holding XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, right? You're holding those four. If each of those go to $1,000 right now, and you're holding $10,000 of each of those coins, you can actually sell 1,000 of each of those coins and take your $4 million off the table, and you will be fine. You take the $4 million, you set yourself up nicely, all right? Because you don't need to live crazy. You can set yourself up nicely with that $4 million and leave the rest of it there so that when it goes up to higher prices, then you start cashing out. But you make sure that you don't cash out to the point where you get rid of everything, right? You always want to leave yourself with something to hold. You always want to do that. But let's get back to the video.
Regulatory uncertainty, manufactured fear. They dragged XRP through the courts for years, while secretly partnering with central banks behind the scenes. Fear keeps retail out and lets institutions walk quietly in. Media control. Major outlets won't touch ISO cryptos unless it's to say XRP is a scam, but they'll push hype project, meme coins, and distractions. Why? Because attention is power, and they want yours anywhere but here. Liquidity control. XRP got delisted during its lawsuit. XDC barely trades on major exchanges. They don't want it to be accessible until they're done accumulating. Whale games and algorithmic suppression. Massive sell walls are programmed to stop breakout moves. Bots trigger stop losses and fake out pumps to keep retail shaky. It's not a broken market, it's a controlled environment. OTC, over-the-counter drainage. Institutions aren't buying on Coinbase. They're making massive purchases behind closed doors off exchange, which means supply disappears, but the price doesn't move. That's not just quiet accumulation, that's precision extraction. So why all the secrecy? Because once ISO20022 is fully activated, once CBDCs are live, once real settlement volume flows through these rails, the volume of these tokens won't rise slowly. They will reprice instantly. This is not a pump. This is a system reset. And what happens, and when it happens, people who saw through the silence will already be holding the keys to the new grid. Open your eyes.
So you guys heard everything she had to say in the video. Please tell me what you think. What I'm going to do at the end of the video, I'm going to run the whole video straight through without cutting in between so that you can hear it straight through. I want to know what you think about it. Leave comments down below. Let me know. Also, give me a thumbs up and a thumbs down, whether you like the video or not. But yeah, that's it for today. Let me know what you think. I'm Thomas Bain. This is Urban Ave Crypto. I'm going to see y'all on the next one. I'm out.
Why are ISO 20022 compliant assets being quietly accumulated while the price goes nowhere? Because this isn't just a market, it's a setup. XRP, XLM, Quant, HBAR, XDC, IOTA, Algo, these aren't hype coins. They're the infrastructure. They're built for cross-border payments, CBDCs, tokenized assets, and machine-to-machine settlements. They're the rails of the next financial system. So ask yourself, why would the price of something that is so powerful stay so low for so long? Because they're suppressing it on purpose. Let's break it down. Regulatory uncertainty, manufactured fear. They dragged XRP through the courts for years, while secretly partnering with central banks behind the scenes. Fear keeps retail out and lets institutions walk quietly in. Media control. Major outlets won't touch ISO cryptos unless it's to say XRP is a scam, but they'll push hype project, meme coins, and distractions. Why? Because attention is power, and they want yours anywhere but here. Liquidity control. XRP got delisted during its lawsuit. XDC barely trades on major exchanges. They don't want it to be accessible until they're done accumulating. Whale games and algorithmic suppression. Massive sell walls are programmed to stop breakout moves. Bots trigger stop losses and fake out pumps to keep retail shaky. It's not a broken market, it's a controlled environment. OTC, over-the-counter drainage. Institutions aren't buying on Coinbase. They're making massive purchases behind closed doors off exchange, which means supply disappears, but the price doesn't move. That's not just quiet accumulation, that's precision extraction. So why all the secrecy? Because once ISO 20022 is fully activated, once CBDCs are live, once real settlement volume flows through these rails, the volume of these tokens won't rise slowly. They will reprice instantly. This is not a pump. This is a system reset. And what happens, and when it happens, people who saw through the silence will already be holding the keys to the new grid. Open your eyes.